So is all this live?
That won't be live.
Oh. Okay.
This is live.
Okay.
That's live. But it's on Twitch, and I'm,
Yeah.
I'm not Joe Rogan. I
Yeah.
got like 5 viewers or whatever.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know. Yeah, nobody's even jumped in yet because it's like just started. But
it's really early too.
yeah, I know, and that's another one. It's 9 a.m. So I'm sure people are like just waking up. But episode 98, 100 podcast. I brought in. This is probably the one I'm most excited for out of all the episodes I've done. I brought in Laura Gallardo. She's a wrestling champion, BJJ champion. She was on The Ultimate Fighter. Just an All-American in college. Just kind of an all-around athlete. So first off, thank you for coming in.
Of course, thank you for having me.
Yeah, no, I'm excited to have you. But I think we should jump in because the most recent thing that everybody's seen is The Ultimate Fighter. So what was your experience like as going in as kind of an alternate, right? Because you were not originally on the first.
Yeah, I was not chosen to be.
Yeah. So how'd you feel? I guess the first couple of days going in, the first
couple of days I just felt, I guess it was very overwhelming because, they told me that I wasn't going to be on it, and then someone on the show wasn't able to make weight, so then I got replaced, and then I learned that I had to fight within like 4 days of actually coming into the house. So it was very overwhelming, and I had to set my, get my peace going, be at peace with like everything that was happening so fast. So yeah, it was just, all I can say, overwhelming. Yeah. How
were the other athletes going in? Like, because I know the first couple seasons of Ultimate Fighter, it was like straight reality show. You know? It was like people were fighting in the house and stuff. Was that at all? Like, because I feel like it's gotten way more towards the fighting instead of the reality part.
So there was some drama, and then there were some fights, but never anyone did not throw like anything up against a wall. No one like ended up almost fighting, but there were little like moments where people had their drama. It's just so many things got edited. Like, it was filmed 24/7. We had microphones around our necks. There was no doors to our bedrooms. The only doors we had for privacy were for the bathroom. So they were literally in your face 24/7.
Really?
Yeah. So imagine like all that footage, and I think they just wanted to cut it more specifically for the fights.
Yeah.
And make it a little bit more professional for the athletes.
That's intense. So you had a camera on you at all, like literally at all times? When like they would come in your bedrooms and just like see what's going on?
Yeah, so for example, one time I was having a conversation with my roommate Helen, and it was a pretty deep conversation. I was getting to know more about her, and she was opening up, and I didn't have my mic on, and she did. But they were hearing because she had her mic on. And they came in with the cameras and then picked up my mic from the dresser and threw it at me to put it on. And I just like got hit with my mic, and I was like, just put it on. And then it was weird having a really deep conversation, authentic, open conversation with someone with a camera up in your face, because you're aware that it might get shown, on TV. So you're in your head, you're like, it's hard to actually really listen because, like, what should I say? What shouldn't I say?
You're like thinking about the camera and the mic.
Yeah, I'm thinking about the camera.
And you were having the conversation. Then they throw the mic at you, so you're like, oh, they're really listening to what I'm saying.
Yeah, they're very intrigued. So you're thinking like, oh, they're going to put this on for sure. But that conversation never got put on.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, a lot of stuff didn't get put on.
Yeah, because they got to cut it into
they have to cut it
hour or
for 16 people, For each, I felt this season, a lot of people the person that was their episode, they cut it for them specifically and left everything out, which makes sense because it was their time.
Were you guys stuck in the house at all times? Like, was there nowhere you can go?
We couldn't go anywhere unless we were taken. So we only left for practices, medicals, and we had one time before, like my semifinal match, the night before, Juliana ended up taking us to go see the Jabberwockies in Las Vegas. And then Team Nunez went to go do some, I don't know what she had planned for their team, but that was the only time that we had like an actual outing where we went to go see something. Oh, that's not true. They filmed the part where we went to go hiking.
Oh,
so after my first fight, we went to go hiking, and then we went to go see the Jabberwockies, and then we didn't leave the house besides medicals and practice.
How intense was that fighting your first fight? You only have a couple days. You're in the house a couple days. You have the fight, and you're fighting in front of like Dana White.
Yeah.
You're fighting in front of Juliana Pena, the champ. You're fighting in front of Amanda Nunes, the champ. Like you're fighting in front of all these big name people. Like, how'd you feel going into that first fight? And you weren't even like it wasn't skill wise, but you weren't picked to begin with. It was because you probably weren't, showing off and getting crazy for people. You were just there to win. So.
Yeah. So it was very surreal, like in the warm-up room seeing UFC and then my gloves UFC, and then before my fight Dana came in and like shook my hand. So then I knew that he was going to be there. We were asking like, is Dana going to be there? Is Dana going to be there? We ended up coming in saying hi. So it was very surreal. I was like in my head thinking, man, like this is what I've been dreaming about, Like I've been wanting to fight for the UFC, even if it's on the Ultimate Fighter, I get a chance to, fight for a contract, maybe be signed. Like it was so surreal. I felt so blessed, like an immense amount of gratitude. And then being seen by Juliana and then Dana and then Amanda, I didn't really think about it that much. Because like I said, I had 4 days to get ready. So I didn't have time to like think about what everyone else thought. I only had time to think about how I needed to get prepared. How I needed to get prepared mentally, physically, emotionally, like everything to bring my best into my first fight. So that wasn't very much like in my awareness, like walking into the cage or getting prepared, like, oh, I got to do good for Dana. Oh, I got to do good for Juliana. I don't like in real.
You're not fanboying. You're literally in a fight. Like, you're like
I'm literally getting ready for a fight. I don't have time for any of that. And realistically, I'm not doing it for Dana and I'm not doing it for Juliana. Like I'm doing it for myself. Like they called me and said, do you want to get on the show? Like I'm the one who said yes. I'm the one who said yes to being the alternate, said yes to everything. So it was my decision to be there. It had nothing to do with them. So I just didn't think much about that. I just thought more about my game plan.
What was your day-to-day at the house? Was it just all training? Was it training?
Yeah, it was awesome. It was all training. It was wake up, have breakfast. We aren't allowed like phones or TV or computers, books, nothing except for like a book to journal. So it was wake up, journal, go to first practice. You're not allowed a book
to read?
No, you can't have anything for distraction.
Really?
Yeah,
oh, wow.
Nothing for distraction. So it was just I journaled a lot, and then went to my first practice at 10, came back, made lunch, took a nap, and then practiced at 4.
I was watching, it was like a new thing on YouTube. It was like the UFC roundtable with all the Ultimate Fighter champions. It was like Juliana Pena, Michael Bisping.
Yeah, all the people who have won.
Yeah, that won. Yeah, and they were talking about how it was almost like a blessing because you were able to just fight. That was it. Like you're just training all day long. There's nothing else to do. Like, you didn't have to go to work. There's
no distractions.
Yeah.
No distractions from family members. No distractions from your job. No distractions from like social media. Like nothing. It really is you thinking about your opponent and your fight, and that's it. And it was a great blessing because even I don't know if people know this, but when you get on the show, you can't do your own grocery shopping. You can't. They shop for you. So we wake up and there's a piece of paper every morning and there's just a list of things that you can write to like. So you can literally put whatever you want and you just hope that they bring it. But mostly they would bring the stuff that you put on the paper. So I mean, the guys were ordering ribeyes. I was ordering organic ribeyes. I was getting like all my stuff that usually sometimes I can't buy over here. But they were so cool. They were so cool. They were finding it. Yeah. It was awesome.
I did hear that. So I don't know where I heard it from, but that was one of the big things. Is like they're just buying whatever. You're eating like high class.
Yeah, you could. You really could have the option if you put organic. Like they would find it for you. The first night that I got there, or the morning, I ordered a watch. I was like, I need a watch, and then I got a weighted blanket because I remember reading a study saying that if you feel anxious or a little worried, like if you get a weighted blanket and you feel the weight on you, like calms you down, it calms your nervous system.
Oh, okay.
And I was like, that's gonna be perfect for sleeping at night in a place where like I don't know anybody, it's not my room, the mattress is like okay. And then so I was like, and then the watch, there's like you don't have your phone on you, right?
Yeah.
So you never really know the time unless you see it on the oven or like the microwave or something. So it was like my little thing where I was like, I can't let anybody get this watch. This can't be like lost or anything.
That's gotta be somewhat, I don't know, tough on the mental to be locked in that house without anything, no distraction at all. Because writing a journal, like that's cool, I guess, but like that's there's nothing else to do.
There's
like,
nothing else to
all you can do is work out. Like, that's really it.
But honestly, I mean, like, for anyone who who wants to be an aspiring professional fighter, like, that is the ideal, you know? And it's not so much like you aren't doing anything. It's like that you're resting for your next practice.
Mm-hmm.
You know, so you're actively, like, thinking, like, okay, got to be prepared for my next practice, got to be prepared for whatever is to come. So it's like, it's perfect scenario.
How long are you in the house?
I was in the house for a month, for 4 weeks.
4 weeks?
And everyone else was in there for 5 weeks.
Okay. And you can fight multiple times within 4 weeks, right?
2 times was the most for this season.
Okay.
Yeah, your first fight and then the semifinal fight. And then the people in the semifinals, obviously, they're fighting now that they're out of the house, but they have their third fight.
How long ago was this?
So
recorded?
this was filmed February through mid-March.
Okay.
Yeah. So then we got out of the house and it was such like you couldn't tell anybody anything, you couldn't say anything, you know, we signed a contract, so if anything got leaked and it was our fault, we would have to like pay something. So it was hard. People would come up to me and be like, so how'd you do? And even teammates are like, come on, I'm your teammate, tell me. And I'm like a little paranoid, so I was like, I can't say anything. I only told, like, I called my coaches. Those were the only people I told because I could trust them. And, you know, I wanted to tell them how I did, but besides that, I didn't really tell anybody.
How was it? Was it tough? Because did you guys, after you would lose, you'd have to stay in the house, right?
Yeah, so
what was that like?
So I was fortunate enough to where, like, after I lost, that was the day we were leaving. So we fought okay. All the people in the semifinal fights right now fought on the same day. They're just airing it at different times.
Makes sense.
Yeah. So, but we fought around, like, I think 2 or 4 p.m. and then we left the house that day like at 10. So we came back and packed everything. They like literally told us we had to like pack and put everything in bags and boxes, and they were gonna mail it to us. But for the people who lost their first fight, it sucked completely.
They just had to hang out.
They just have to hang out. They're just like
still train.
And still if they wanted to, they didn't have they could really not have done anything if they wanted to. I was fortunate enough that I had teammates that showed up to practice, trained, you know, stayed in shape, and
not to name names, but were there people that would, after they lost, that were just like, I'm done with this?
Yeah, there were people that were like, what's the point? You know? Or like people that maybe like showed up to practice but weren't fully present, you know, were just like, it doesn't matter.
That's crazy. Because you still got a huge opportunity. Like you said, it's still like the perfect spot for you.
Yeah,
Even if you lost, you can still train. You're training with, you know, champions.
And elite coaches, you know, Juliana brought an elite team. You know, all the coaches there, I was amazed by what everyone taught and like gave, and it was such a great learning.
And they have these main, like they have Juliana as head coach, they have Amanda Nunes as head coach. How involved are they? Are they involved in every?
So I don't know about. I can't speak for Amanda just because we had different practice times. And I don't really speak to the other team.
Yeah.
But I'm like one of those people that if I'm competing against you, I'm not really speaking to you.
We're not friends.
I mean, we're not friends. We can be amicable, and I'll be nice, but like, you know, take my silence as like being respectful. You know, I'm respecting you. Like, I don't really want to engage any further than that. But Juliana, as a coach, was fully present. Like, came into practice with a game plan, and it's difficult when you have 2 different athletes fighting. You know, she would have 4 athletes fighting on the same day. So to come up with a game plan for each athlete is difficult, and especially when it's, you know, we have the women who are featherweights and flyweights and the men who are heavyweights.
Which are like completely
so we can't
opposite.
even train it completely opposite, you know, different game plans for a heavyweight versus someone who weighs 125. But she was able to like compartmentalize everything and have game plans for every person, and would come around and ask what we needed. And then if, you know, we didn't understand something, she would hop in and she would be a drilling partner or a grappling partner or anything, you know. She even, remember, sparred with some of us and like moved around with some of us. So she was completely engaged. And then I've said this before, but one of my favorite things about her is her passion. Like, she's a very passionate woman.
That's a great point.
Yeah, and every time after practice, she always had something to say that would motivate you and leave you feeling like, oh, we're here, dude. Like, we're fucking here. Like, this is one in a lifetime opportunity. Like, we got to make the best of it. Like, would always say something that would motivate us and inspire us and like light that fire, you know, because you come in, do the same thing, practice after practice, but she always found a way to just like
keep the intensity
keep
up,
the
keep
intensity,
you in it.
keep us in it.
Because you know, obviously it's a show. They make it look as good as they can or whatever. But even like when you guys in your guys' fights, her coaching seems so spot on. Like it seemed like she was like really focused on the athlete, not just like, you know, just giving
like the performance or the show or like in it for like the, you know, the cameras. She was in it. She was definitely in it for like the person as an athlete, like you said. Like I said, every instruction she made was specific to them. It wasn't like a general overall thing, which was awesome. Like, couldn't have asked for a better coach.
So, moving past the Ultimate Fighter, what are you working on now? What's your goals now after you've gotten out the house? And
so I can't fight till August 6th, which is the finale. I'm under a contract.
That's fucking crazy.
Yeah, it's crazy.
You can't fight until you gotta wait it out till they fight.
Yeah, so since the show ended mid-March till August 6th, none of the athletes were able to do anything. No fighting, you know. Just in case like someone gets hurt, we get pulled in, or just in case how like in previous seasons they pull contestants in who didn't, you know, make to the finals. But
they get pulled into the
sometimes
the fight night or whatever.
They're not, as far as I know, they're not doing it for this season. But yeah, I can't do anything till August 6th. So right now I'm like concentrating on building my website, concentrating on being more present on social media. I'm trying to get a fight immediately after August 6th. So I'm, you know, training, staying ready, acting like this is going to be a little mini camp for me. And then hopefully get a fight end of August, early September is what I'm hoping. That's
so tough that you guys finish and you gotta wait, like, what is that, like 6 months or whatever to just even move on when you're like at the you're like at the verge of like making it to
breaking
the UFC,
in.
You know,
But it does suck, and in retrospect, like maybe the first 2 weeks I was like a little pissed, a little heartbroken, a little sad, a little everything. But then you come into this realization that you have all that time to get better.
Exactly.
So what you know, screwed up on the fight or in anything like preparation, you have 5 or however long it was months to get prepared for your next fight. You know, and actually like be like the, you know, like come in dominant in your next fight.
Yeah.
So I mean, I took it as a blessing in disguise, you know, because coming into practice, I don't have that pressure of like, oh, I got to get ready for a fight, I just have that like intention of like, I'm gonna learn as much as I can today, and I'm gonna be better than yesterday, and I'm gonna keep growing, so when the time comes, I'm gonna be prepared.
What is your split for like practices? So like, how often are you practicing like BJJ? How often are you wrestling? How often are you doing striking? Like, are you sparring? Like, how does that work with?
So I like to spar when I have a fight coming up, or if I don't have anything coming up, I'll spar once a week. But I mostly don't do more than that, depending on like who my partners are. You know, if I can get in a group with women, that's a little bit easier on the body. But if you're sparring against men like all the time, some don't hit that hard, but some come at you like blasted, you know. So I stay away from them. And then I'm a really good high level wrestler, so if I take some of these guys down, they get a little mad, you know, and then they come back flaring. So
you're like, what the?
Yeah. So I just
don't get taken down.
Yeah, don't get taken down. Don't get mad. But I'll spar either once a week, and then for a fight I'll spar one week, and then I'll make it more specific on another day I'll have a coach present. I'll have either one coach or 2 coaches present, the ones that are coming with me to corner, and then we can work on stuff after like the practice session. But usually my days are like, I'll do Tuesday, Thursdays, stand up over at Classic, stay for the MMA class, and then rest, and then go either lift and then do a jiu-jitsu class at AOJ, and then I'll get a run in, and then I have Monday, Wednesdays wrestling, and then this facility, the one that we're filming at, is a new wrestling facility for young athletes, and they have a really good women's team here. So they have girls who have been national champs and runner-ups, and
really?
They're like ranked high level. So I've done a few practices with them, and I feel like my wrestling is getting a lot better. Like,
well, you are a high level wrestler, you know.
I am, but I learned it so late. So I always feel like I have more to learn and more to learn.
What even transitioned you into the combat sports?
So I found jiu-jitsu when I was in La Quinta, Some guy.
Shout out La Quinta.
Shout out La Quinta High School. Yeah. This guy had invited me, and I did my first jiu-jitsu class over at Coachella Valley Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu. They're, I think, located in Palm Desert now. I think I did it for a month. Then I went to college because, I had to stop because I went to college, had to concentrate on school. 2 years later, I found it again. I found a Gracie school in Fullerton. And then ever since then, I didn't stop. So I think I started when I was 22 or 23 with Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu and doing, I don't know if you're familiar with it. Oh, yeah, you are. Nogi, gi. So I did. Yep. Yeah, I started with gi and then transitioned to Nogi. And then,
Do you feel like, this is like a little off topic, I guess, but do you feel like gi is useful nowadays? Do you think most people should be doing no-gi, especially if you're like an MMA fighter, if you're trying to...
Yeah.
Because it just, like, the gi is like...
Mm-hmm. I think...
Because you're almost grabbing, like,
yeah,
that's like...
your clothing and stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think if you're an MMA fighter, I think doing no-gi is very important because you have to learn how to move on someone when they're sweaty and you can't grab clothes. But I also think gi is beneficial because you're learning the technique. You're drilling with someone, you're moving around someone's body, like you're moving in the same way. It might be a little slower, but you're still doing and learning a martial art and technique that can benefit you.
Yeah,
so I don't think that you should never do gi, but I do think that as an MMA fighter, no-gi is a little bit more important.
Gotcha.
And especially if you have the opportunity to train with gloves on, because that becomes a little different with the grips. You just have your fingers and then you have gloves and something's in the way and you have to learn how to like grip and position and hold in different ways.
Yeah, because people don't even think about that because BJJ, you don't have no gloves.
You don't have any gloves. You're just grabbing onto your fingers, like everything. But it's hard to get a submission in when you have like gloves on. And the grip, when they wrap your hands, I always tell the hand wrapper, I want it not so tight. Like I don't want that much. Like maybe I didn't start wrapping my hands until like maybe my last 3 fights. I'd go in just with my gloves because I felt like I was so important for me to be able to like hold on and be able to move my hands however I wanted.
Did you ever have any issues not wrapping them? Did you ever like break?
No, I never broke anything. No.
That's why you wrap them, right? Is to not
That's
break
why you
your
wrap
knuckles
them,
or something?
Yeah,
your
but it's not mandatory. And I've had friends who are fighters who have not wrapped their hands and they're okay. Like you obviously run the risk of breaking your hand, but you just think in the back of your head, don't break your hand. Just don't break your hand. You'll be fine. Just don't break your hand.
Have you had any bad injuries in the middle of a fight and you had to just keep moving? Because I see some of those, man, they're crazy. I see some of them and they keep fighting. You're like, what the fuck, bro? You have torn ACL?
Yeah, and you just keep going.
Or like, who was it that just, TJ Dillashaw tore his ACL? I think it was like his first round against Sandhagen or whatever.
Volkanovski, I heard he broke his wrist, and then he went the full 5 rounds with Holloway, and was astounding. Was astounding. Was like a level up than his last 2 fights. Like, fortunately, I have not had any serious injuries during fights. My serious injuries have happened in practice. In practice rooms, but nothing. I mean, I got cut maybe one time on my head, and I just remember walking to my corner, and there was like blood dripping down. But it isn't like you have so much adrenaline. You have so much adrenaline, and you don't even think about it. Like you just kind of like wipe it off, and you know it's there, but you don't think that, oh shit, I got caught or cut. You know? The cut man's there, putting whatever on to not make it bleed, but I never really think about it.
Do you still remember your first MMA fight? Do you like remember the feeling walking in?
I do, yeah. It was over in the Indian reservations by Hemet.
Okay.
I forget what it's called, but I had competed so much in wrestling, for college, and then I got so into it that I competed internationally and went to different. I didn't go to a lot of different countries, but was able to travel. So going in and walking in kind of felt the same way as you would for a match. Like I knew my heart rate was gonna be like off the chain. Like I just knew what to expect, but I also knew how to calm myself down. Like I had already cultivated and created tools that would be able to like, okay, I've already done this. Like maybe I didn't like, I hadn't punched or kicked anybody before, but I've already wrestled and competed at a high level that it's the same thing. It's just like me in a mat. The only difference is there's going to be a cage, and that's it. So I was a little nervous just because I was aware that like I could get hit and kicked, but at the same time I was like, this is just another competition. I've already done this.
The feeling.
I've already knew the feeling. Yeah, I've already been there.
How was your traveling experience? Where did you go, and did you have any? Did you have any favorite place that you visited?
So before I did before I became a fighter, I went to Japan. And I went to Japan because I wanted to train under Megumi Fuji at AACC in Tokyo. So that was my favorite place, Japan. I loved the food. I loved the people. I loved the training. Like, I remember their training didn't start till like maybe 8 or 9 p.m. And then it was like 4 hours. People would leave the gym like around 12 a.m., maybe later.
8 or 9 p.m. would start?
Yeah, it would start. Yeah, so I had the whole day to like do whatever I want in the morning. I could go explore. And then I would train at night. And then it was at a Gold's Gym. It was like the 3rd or 4th floor. And then I remember every time I'd walk out, there was a ramen place outside of the gym. So I'd just go eat ramen afterwards. You know, I'd sweat so much that I was like, oh, the sodium, the salt, the carbs. But that was my favorite place, going to Japan.
What? That's so crazy. Because I've heard, I guess, Japan is like pretty, I don't know, like high tech almost. Like it's like super futuristic.
So when I would order the ramen, you don't order it with a waiter or a waitress. It's like almost like a vending machine thing, and then I couldn't read. They had pictures, so I would just pick the picture with like a bowl that had an egg on it because I wanted egg.
It just looked good.
It just looked good, and then I knew that's the one I liked, so I would just keep clicking the same one.
Wow.
Yeah.
Did you pick up on any language?
So when I was there, but that was I went when I was 25, 27, or 26. But I forgot. Like, the only thing I remember is arigatou gozaimasu. Like, every time I'd walk into the store, they'd say konnichiwa or so, you know, something like that. But the basic ones that I bet everyone knows too.
Yeah, I don't know it. I'm sure, like, I don't know, bro. I don't know what's going on.
But besides that, I did learn words, but then I don't have any friends who speak Japanese, so it's easier to remember and retain words when you have friends.
Yeah. Did you visit any other countries?
I went to Budapest to wrestle for USA Grappling, and that was cool. I thought Budapest was beautiful. I remember doing like a little boat trip and seeing like the two different sides of the city and it being lit up, and I liked the food there, and the people there were nice too, and that was an awesome experience.
Budapest, Thailand, or no? Where's Budapest at?
I don't know.
I
know where it is on a map. But I know it's not Thailand.
Oh yeah, I know.
It's not Thailand.
I didn't even want to say because I knew I was going to be wrong, but okay. So you got out of high school, you started BJJ, and then you went to college.
And then I went to college, yeah.
And then what made you go into wrestling and end up becoming an All-American wrestler?
Yeah.
Like, where did that?
So that happened because after I did gi, I was like, I should try Nogi. Like, it's the same thing but just different clothing. So ended up really liking Nogi and then got obsessed with it, and then entered Worlds as a blue belt and won. And then I thought, like, fuck, like I love this so much. But what I loved was mixed martial arts. Like I love that there's grappling, boxing, jiu-jitsu, like so many things you could learn. And then I thought to myself, that's what I want to do. I want to learn everything. And then if I can learn everything, I could use it and I could fight.
Yeah.
So I asked my coach if he could, Eric Arevalo, he's my head MMA coach, if he can like guide me, because I didn't know much, and he was at that time Josh Barnett's sparring partner, so he knew like the ins and outs of the game, and he's like, okay, if you're gonna start MMA, you got to do wrestling. And I was like, really? And he's like, yeah, you need a good base. And I wasn't in college. I had dropped out. Like, I went from UCI to Biola to COD to
really?
To community college in Fullerton. Like, I just didn't know what I wanted to do with my life. The only thing I knew was that I wanted to do martial arts. And then when I realized I wanted to do fighting, I was like, I want to do fighting. So that's when I went to Japan. And while I was in Japan, he sent video to different colleges. But it was of me grappling. It wasn't of me wrestling.
Oh, okay.
So the colleges that have women's wrestling were like, we can't have her. She's just like, grappling, and then she's on her back, and then she's doing like all this other stuff.
She's not.
Yeah. So the only two colleges that kind of noticed were Oklahoma and Canada. I said hell no to Oklahoma. Took a recruitment trip to Canada, and then that's where it kind of started. Was just thinking to myself like, okay, well, if I want to be really good in MMA, I have to have a really good wrestling foundation. I also have to finish school because I hadn't finished it. What a better way than to try to walk on a team. and get, the full experience of being on a high-level wrestling team while at the same time finishing school.
And keep working on your MMA.
And and then keep working on that.
It's you made the point, you kind of made the point was that you just like to learn everything, and it's kind of crazy how mental MMA is. It's not so physical. Like, it obviously is physical. You're going to try to knock somebody out or whatever. You're going to try to choke them out. But it's crazy how many different solutions there are to a problem.
Yeah.
Like, you can end up putting a girl in an arm bar. You can chokehold.
And then she can get out of it.
Yeah,
and you
exactly.
Have to move you have to know what to do in each step on each scenario. And it is like a very mindful sport because you can't let your emotions get away with,
Yeah.
You can get punched. I used to get punched, and I used to get so mad. And I'd be like, oh, like, even in the practice room, I'd be like, oh, he fucking punched me, or she fucking punched me. And I would react with emotion. And now, as, I feel like I'm a little bit more seasoned, like, I can control those emotions. Like, I don't get bothered by someone, like, kicking, hitting me. I just know that's part of the game now, And now I'm better at, like, timing my takedowns. I used to go in, like, just
forcing them?
Just forcing them, not even like setting them up with punches and kicks and like little fakes or level changes. Like, I think now I'm at a point where I can just integrate a lot of things and make it look a lot more natural.
Yeah. The game is so cool. I love watching it. I love watching just how. Because then you see the top level guys, like you see like Kamaru Usman, or you see like, or you see even like Masvidal, even though Masvidal is something else. But you see Masvidal, he trained that knee right before he knees Ben Askren and puts him to sleep, and it's like it was so mental, like it wasn't.
And you have to have confidence to go up there and throw that knee, right? Because if you miss and they catch, or if you miss and you land the wrong way, it could go completely different for you. Like, that's why I love MMA too. Is I feel like it taught me how to have a lot of confidence, how to hold myself in like high esteem, and how to just really believe in myself.
When you, I don't know, but when you spoke to your family or whoever, when you spoke to them about you getting into MMA, was there a stigma? Were people like, is this lady crazy? She's gonna go beat the fuck out of like this?
Because I first started in jiu-jitsu, and around that time there were really no girls I was training with, so my brother thought that I was in it for the guys. My mom and dad thought it was just like something that was like cool but not that important. My dad and mom wanted me to become like a doctor or a lawyer. So I don't think they realized how important it was for me until I had my first amateur fight and I won. And then I had my first professional fight and I won. And then it became very real when I got on The Ultimate Fighter. And my dad's like, holy crap, like, you're really close. Like, and now he's telling me, don't stop. He's like, whatever you do, don't stop. You're super close. This is
clearly your shit.
Yeah, this is clearly what you want to do. You're good at it. Like, I believe now. Don't stop.
Yeah, that's gotta feel great to have a parent, even if they did not agree with you in the beginning, but for them to come around and be like, push it, keep going, keep going, keep going. Obviously, they think you can make it.
No, it feels great because, I'm like very much one of those people who believe that, like, I have this goal, and if no one supports me, that's fine because I'm going to take care of this goal. But when you have validation from your family, it does make it a little better. Like, it makes it a little sweeter.
Yeah,
Even though, like,
you're going to do it either way.
Yeah,
you're going to do it either way.
I'm going to do it either way. But for you to finally recognize that all this hard work isn't for nothing, it feels good.
Was it tough getting, like, I don't know, like getting into the MMA gym as a woman and them taking you serious? Or like in MMA or even wrestling, the wrestling gym or the BJJ mat or whatever. Was it tough for them to take you like serious as a woman?
I think in the beginning for jiu-jitsu it was. It not because I was a woman, but because I didn't know much. I came in knowing that. Yeah, I was a newbie. And then as I started getting better, they did take me a little seriously. But still, like, I have always run into like the problem where I'll, be, and this happens mostly with like MMA fighters. I'll be in a gym, and then if I have to pair up with a guy, sometimes they don't want to pair up with me. Or sometimes if we end up sparring, they don't even try hard. Like, they don't even give good looks. Like, they're just like bodies just standing there.
They do
like,
training.
Yeah, like I remember this one guy saying, like, I remember coming up to him and asking him if he wanted to be my first partner for sparring, and he goes, well, maybe like on the third round because I need an easy round. And I got so mad, and I took his ass down, dude. Like, I was like, I'm gonna take you down. I remember taking him down and keeping him on the ground and stuff.
How disrespectful! He
said that. But I had come from like high level wrestling where like the guys in wrestling, like they'll wrestle with women, but they'll give you such good looks. Like they know where to put the pressure, how to sprawl, how to not go 100%, but how to be technical.
They're giving you real looks.
Yeah, and they're still learning, and it's still beneficial. And some guys just don't understand that, you know. And when I was very new in MMA, it wasn't hard for me to get into gyms just because I had that coach Eric who had trained with Josh Barnett, and then my first gym was over at CSW under Eric Paulson. So he knew people, which made me feel comfortable, and anytime anyone fucked with me, I would just tell him, and then he would just protect me. So I felt very protected. Like to have a mentor so early in the game was a blessing because I did encounter those problems, but I also had someone who I could talk to, who could, you know, give me advice on how to handle it and just make it a little bit easier.
Yeah, the women's MMA, I think just in general, it has gone, it's like so, it's just so normal now, you know? Like it was so stigmatized for, I don't know, maybe like 20 years ago or 15 years ago. Once the UFC put them in the UFC, once Dana White finally was like,
and
women
now,
can fight, motherfucker, you know? And then you see
now, like,
Shevchenko fucking savages, or, you know.
Dude, there's so many, like, high-level, like, strikers, high-level, like, rap, like, when Mackenzie Dern did that, like, I think it was an Americana on Tessa Torres on the last fight. She, like, pulled guard up against the cage. Like, you have so many women who are, like, multifaceted, can do so many things well. Like, it's amazing now that, like, you're not just in the women's division and there's, like, mediocre fighters. It's, like, no, once you get into the UFC, there's, like, high-level fighters. Like, they're good at their game.
I remember watching the video of, it was DeRandami. I forgot her first name, but she fought a dude. She boxed a dude, and it was Juliana DeRandami or something. I don't know. I don't remember her name, but she fought for. I think she was a champ for a little bit, or she fought against she was champ because she fought Holly Holm.
Oh, cool. Okay.
For I don't know, the UFC. It was like I don't remember. It was for a belt they just started, the UFC. The one that I think Cyborg had for a little bit. Amanda, the 145 is a bantamweight.
So Amanda has 145, and then Juliana has 135.
What is that weight class? Is it bantamweight?
Might be bantamweight.
Yeah, I think that's what it was. But yeah, they randomly, literally, I don't know. She boxed a dude, and there's a video of it, and knocked the dude out, and that just tells you, you know, like it's pretty cool to watch the women's MMA because it's getting pretty even, you know.
Yeah, they know what they're doing.
Yeah, it's intense. But how has this process, I guess, been? Like how do you feel now that you've gotten out of the Ultimate Fighter? Like do you feel fully now like you're gonna make it to the UFC? You think the UFC is part of your journey?
Even before going into the Ultimate Fighter, that has always been my goal.
UFC.
And I always thought to myself, like, if that's gonna be my goal, I have to believe it. You know, I have to really feel that I'm gonna make it there.
Yeah.
So I've always felt like I was gonna make it there, regardless of what was gonna happen in the Ultimate Fighter. You know, that was just another gateway. You know, and now, you know, losing the semifinals, I still believe I'm gonna make it.
Well, and the semifinal match was. I watched it. I watched the whole season so far. It was close. It was a real good fight. It was a real good fight.
Yeah, it was a close match. Yeah. It was a close match.
Yeah, you're like, that's all I'm gonna say about that.
That's all I'm gonna say,
yeah. You probably still feel it a little bit. You probably would.
You know, I feel a little bit, but not as much as when it, you know,
when it happened.
When it happened, and now it's just like, you know, I really did learn from that fight. I learned so much from that fight, so I can't hate on it anymore.
Yeah.
You know, it is what it is, you know, and the results were what they are, so you gotta keep going.
I don't know, you did great, and it can't do much about it, you know.
Yeah,
you're not
exactly.
the ref. You fought well. And
like, I've had people who come up to me and say that I look like I won, like you should have won, and in reality, like, okay, does it matter, you know? Because I didn't, like, I'm not gonna go contest, you know, tell the judges like, oh, like, you're wrong, like, we gotta see footage again, like, it doesn't even matter what, you know, people, you know, what people are thinking or what I thought, like, should have been the results. Like, what matters is, like, the reality of the fact that I lost. Yeah. You know, that's the truth I'm living in. So I got to make the best of the truth.
So Is August is when they're doing the
August
finale?
6th is the finale.
Are you guys gonna be there at the UFC
I want to be
event?
there.
Oh,
yeah,
okay,
yeah.
okay.
I'm trying to be there to support my teammates.
Yeah, that'd be pretty cool. And do you still keep in contact with most of them?
Yeah, I'm really good friends with Hannah, Juju, and Mo.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm really good. I still keep in contact with them, and I'm really good friends with them.
Juliana Miller that was a savage
fight,
submission.
Dude. You know,
that was crazy.
And people they just say the meanest things to her about her striking, her everything, but she's a game fighter. You know, she comes in ready to fight, ready to brawl. Like, she's not gonna let you back down and have it your way. Like, she's gonna make it her way.
That's how you were too. I was watching you when you do the face-offs. They made you.
They made you so mean.
You look like a savage. Like you just like turn around and you're just like ready to fight. You know, like.
But that's another thing.
The editing. That's the beauty of the editing.
My way of preparing myself. You know, like if I'm being too friendly with you, like I'm gonna feel bad for hurting you. You know, when I know that I'm gonna fight you, like it's war. You know, like I know you're trying to break some of my bones. You know, I know that if you get a submission, you're not gonna let go. You know, so I don't. What's the point of? I'm respectful, but I'm not gonna be your friend at that point. You know, we can be friends after. Like we can train after. Like no big deal. But if I have a fight against you, like just expect me to take that very seriously.
Speaking of submissions, you are what 2 times IBJFF champ?
So,
is that what it is?
Yeah, I won at Worlds for white belt, and then I won Worlds at blue belt.
So, holding submissions like that, how do you like not even think about that when you're like putting somebody in a submission? You know, like because I've seen some people like. You know, their arm ends up breaking or whatever. They hold, and it's not even they hold it too long. The person doesn't tap.
Fuck,
the person doesn't. Yeah, like how do you do that shit? Like without even like running through your mental. You know what I'm saying?
When you go to practice, you know they don't teach. You don't have an instructor in class saying, okay, and this is how we're gonna learn to break the arm this way, and this is how we're gonna learn to break the ankle this way. You go to class and they teach you the technique to it. You know, so when you're in a competition.
You're doing the technique?
Yeah, you're doing the technique. You're searching for ways to get that position to do the technique. So in your mind, you're not thinking like, oh, this is how I break it. And in your mind, you're thinking like, at least in my mind, I'm thinking like, oh, this is how I get to the armbar, and this is how I can hurt. You know, this is how I can win. I always think like, this is how I can win. You know?
Exactly.
So and if they're not
just
tapping,
do it the right way.
Yeah, and if they're not tapping, I'm not thinking like I'm gonna break your fucking arm. I'm thinking like I gotta win. You know, like I gotta like this is my position. I'm not letting it go. Kind of thing.
Oh, gotcha. Yeah.
Yeah.
Because it's a match. It's just at the end of the day, like you're saying, you're just trying to get the W. You're not trying to kill the person.
At the end of the day, you have 2 people agreeing with each other. You know, it's an agreement that you guys made. You know, like I know that she's gonna want to do the same thing that I'm gonna do to her, and I couldn't do it without her, right? Because she has to step on the mat, she has to step in the cage.
Yeah.
So we need each other for this. So
and how do you keep you grounded when you're because you're a fighter? So you got all this intensity, and like you said, you get into the matches or whatever. You know you've been there already, so you gotta just kind of like you can't get hyped up when somebody punches you in the face or whatever. So what keeps you grounded day to day? Like what keeps you I don't know, just feeling right mentally. Yeah. From mental going sideways or going crazy.
So I have a morning ritual that I do every day, and I am very connected to like spirit and the universe. I've done, you know, in the mornings I journal, I meditate, I do some Reiki, and then I like pulling tarot cards or oracle decks. I've also, you know, done some plant medicine ceremonies and feel very connected to that. I've learned tremendously from plant medicine. And I feel like throughout the day, I have pockets where, you know, I remind myself of like who I am, what I'm here to do, and you know that's why I'm doing this. That's why I'm doing MMA. So if I ever get, you know, angry or sad or frustrated or annoyed, you know, I come back to like what's true for me. You know,
gotcha, yeah.
That's the only thing that's, you know, important. You know, it's like this remembering of like, oh yeah, like. I love it. Yeah, what actually matters to me. Yeah.
Yeah. How close are we? Where are we at? I think we're getting. I don't want to run you too long. I don't know what time.
Yeah, I'll have to be out of here by like 10:20.
Okay, yeah, it's 10:05. So let's. I don't know. Let's close it out. Where can people find you on Instagram?
So Instagram, I'm at Bless Laura Twitter, I'm at La Jefa, and TikTok, I think I'm at La Jefa Laura or something.
And you're originally from Mexico?
Yeah, I was born in Mexico.
Really?
Yeah, I was born in Mexico.
How do you feel like being originally from Mexico and like I don't know, being just like for the whole country? Like,
yeah.
How do you
Oh
feel,
man,
like,
I feel
yeah.
like just like again surreal. You know that I can represent Mexico and the place that I was born, and I have most of my family members are down there. You know, I only have like an aunt and uncle here and some cousins, but almost everybody is down in Mexico. So they were they were so psyched, pumped up that I was on Ultimate Fighter. They were able to see the show. Like a few of them never had seen me fight, and they were able to see me fight. Like it was I had the support of my whole entire family in Mexico. I'm hoping one day, you know, make it to the UFC, get a fight in Mexico, and my whole family can come watch.
Yeah,
that'd be so.
Have you ever been to Mexico City?
Yeah, I have. Yeah.
Jeez.
Well, I trained with the Olympic team down there.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I was there for like a month and a half. So I stayed there and trained, and then was able to leave.
For wrestling?
For wrestling, yeah. Was able to leave the premises, go explore, and then I had an aunt who lived there, and she took me exploring on the weekends.
How was that?
It was amazing. Yeah, it was very cool.
I've seen just the like some of the videos of the traffic.
Oh,
and it looks
insane.
crazy.
Yeah,
like nobody stops or nothing.
No
it's
one's.
Just like,
it's like.
Fit in.
Yeah, it's
Wow, that's cool. But all right, bless Laura on Instagram.
Yeah.
And then what was it, La Jefa?
La Jefa on Twitter.
Okay, all right.
And then I'm gonna get my website hopefully up and running within like a few weeks here, so I'm gonna post that on my Instagram.
And hopefully in August we'll start hearing something about
and hopefully
a fight
I'll keep
or
you guys
something.
updated. Yeah, hopefully in August I get news of a fight.
Okay, cool.
Yeah.
All right, peace
Thank
out.
you.
Peace out, everybody on Twitch. Thank you guys. Episode 98.
Awesome.